Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be showing you how to code a bouncing ball. I'm using a really easy to use computer language library, whatever, called processing, and anybody with an internet connection can code this. So I had a really good time making it, and I hope you guys will too. All right, so let's go and get started. So the first thing you want to do is go to this website right here called editor.p5js.org. I'm currently logged in, but you don't even have to be logged in. I'll go ahead and log out. And you just type this in the browser. It'll take you to this website. And you want to click auto refresh and run. And then so what this did for you was it created a canvas that was this size, 400 pixels by 400 pixels. And it created a background for you that's 220, which just basically stands for gray. I could set this to brown, for example, and it would still work. But I'm going to go ahead and set it to, let's see, I like gray. I'll go ahead and do gray. So the first thing we want to do is make a circle. The way processing works is this is something that only runs once, and this is something that runs over and over again. So if you want the circle to move and iterate, then you'd code all the circle stuff in here. So the first thing I'm going to do is circle. It's going to be at coordinates 20, 20, and then have a radius of 40. All right, so let's go ahead and see that render. And if you can tell, that's at x coordinate of 20, y coordinate of 20, and it has a radius of 40. One thing I don't like about this is how the coordinates are counted from the top left. I like it when y increases upwards instead of y increasing downwards. So one thing that you can do is set the origin to the bottom left. I just googled how to set the origin to the bottom left, and I'm going to copy paste this code right here into mine. Right, and then so awesome. Now everything starts from the bottom. So let's go ahead and try to get the circle moving. Now, if you want this number to change, the easiest way to do that is create a variable. So I'm just going to call this x position, and you have to define the variables that you use. So up here I'm going to say var x position is equal to 0. And then each time this loops through, which will automatically loop through, I'm going to increment this by 3. And let's see what that does. Awesome, very cool. If you want a shorter way of writing this, you could do plus equals, and this will do the exact same thing. But I'm just going to do this so that's easier to understand. One problem that we have here is that, I don't know if you guys can tell, but it literally just leaves the screen once it gets past 400. So one thing I'm going to do is have it bounce back. So if x position is greater than 400, then we're going to have, what should we do? One thing that you might be tempted to do is say x position is equal to x position minus 3. And then have it go back. But the problem is the moment this runs, this won't be true anymore, right? So say x position was 400 or 401, it'll subtract 3, you go to 398, and then it'll get back here and then go back to 401, and this will keep repeating itself. So one thing we can do is define x velocity term. So our x velocity term, this is the same as speed. Let's set the speed equal to 2. And let's set this x velocity equal to 2. And then, oh, what's wrong? X velocity is not defined. Oh, this is supposed to be an x. And then we can switch the x velocity to negative, so that the moment it gets to the end, it'll just like flip back. So let's see what that does. Oh, nope, it went away again. So let's add another conditional where if this goes off the screen to the right, or if it goes off the screen to the left, then it'll flip the velocity. So let's go ahead and see what that does. Awesome. All right, so we got it bouncing the horizontal direction, but I want it to be a little more exciting than that. So let's move it up a bit, and then I want it to kind of go up and down too. So let's define two more turns. Let's do var y position is equal to 300, var y, set the velocity, initial downwards velocity equal to -2, for example. And let's go ahead and just do the exact same thing we did with x position, but do with y position and y velocity. Oh, that's not what we wanted to do. Yeah, so we want the y position and everything to do the exact same thing. So actually, I'm just going to copy paste this right here, move it down over here, and just replace the x with the y's. And then let's see if that does the exact same thing. So it's going to go down, bounce, and then it should bounce off the top as well. So right now we basically have everything that we set out to do, but I want it to kind of speed up as it goes down in the way it would in real life. So what we can do is define a variable called y acceleration, and let's set that to -0.2 for now. And every time you loop through, you want to increase or add the acceleration to the velocity. So y velocity is equal to y velocity plus y acceleration, and let's go ahead and see what that does. And so that looks pretty good, but why don't we go ahead and comment out, so you do control / on the background portion, and this will let you, it won't redraw the background each time, so you can see the path getting traced out. And one thing that's kind of finicky is you can tell that it gets higher and higher each time. So all you really need to do in that case is add a conditional right here and have this line of code only operate when y position is greater than 0, because what's happening is that when this goes negative, when the y position goes negative, it's still getting pulled down, and we don't want that to happen. So let's add that if statement, and it should stay at the same height each time, hopefully. Let's see. Yep, that's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and uncomment this. I'm going to just change this around a bit. We can even change the canvas size. So let's set this to 600, for example. And instead of hard coding this, we can just write width over here. Nice. And then if you want to change the color of the circle, you can say fill brown, for example, and then it will just change the fill of the circle. All right, so that's how you code a bouncing ball. It's really straightforward. I'd encourage you guys to look into the actual website for P5JS. It's really informative, and there's a bunch of other stuff you can learn too, like all these different things like game of life and multi-particle systems that maybe someday I'll get into. But I hope you guys like this example, and in the comment section, let me know if you want me to make any more stuff that's related to this. All right, thanks.